Hello and welcome to ZDA Press. My name is Zach, I'm an independent self-published author, and today we're going to be talking about one of the greatest fears for writers on the precipice of becoming authors. That's right, today we're going to be talking about the dreaded query letter. It's actually not that scary. Over the last 10 plus years that I've been writing, I am always seeing other writers post about the dreaded query letter, or querying for agents as if it's some terrible gauntlet that has to be run. And I've never looked into it, and I really haven't felt the need to look into it, because I figured, well, I'm just going to self-publish forever, I retain all the control and the creative freedom to do everything I want on the schedule that I want, so why wouldn't I just do that? And wouldn't you know it, doing it that way doesn't pay well. Not that I'm in this for the money, of course, and those of you who know me know that. I'm going to be writing no matter what. It is my passion, it's what I was put on this earth to do. And so because of that, over the last week I've been looking more into query letters, and today I'm going to tell you how you can write your own. Now, for those of you who know what a query letter is, you might be wondering why I specifically have any authority to be able to tell you that. Because, well, if you missed the intro to this video, I'll play it back right here.
I'm an independent, self-published author.
That part in particular is a bit of a sticking point because, for anyone who doesn't know, what a query letter is a letter that is sent off to a literary agent in the prospects for your manuscript to become traditionally published. So with me being completely self-published up to this point, I don't have the greatest of authority to tell you what to do or what not to do to get traditionally published, but over the last week or so I've been an information sponge learning everything I can about query letters and sending several of them out in the hopes of getting traditionally published. Yes, that is right. I am trying to get my works out into the market where they belong, as opposed to just being, more or less dead on arrival in this small space that I have here. And so while I've not heard back about my queries yet, I've just sent a bunch of them off over the weekend, which of course this is Memorial Day weekend or a bank holiday for some of the agency firms across the water. So it'll be a while before these get back to me. But I can at least tell you everything that I've learned because I'm very confident with what I've sent off and what I've learned, and I can help you and give you the resources that I've been using to learn, and you can learn along with me. And one of the main reasons I'm very confident in what I've sent off is because I'm very good at research, and especially in terms of what a query letter looks like. 2 weeks ago, I had no idea even how to write a query letter. I wouldn't know what one looks like from a regular letter. But after this extensive research that I have done, I now can write one blindfolded at this point. And I've really been enjoying it because it's like writing papers back in school. For those of you who didn't like writing papers back in school, that may sound like the worst possible thing. But for my writer friends out there, I imagine and I hope that that serves as some sort of comfort to you, because writing papers is usually what we're pretty good at. It's also really easy, like freakishly easy, because almost 9 times out of 10, all the agencies that you're looking for, or the individual agents within that agency, they will tell you exactly what they want out of a query letter. They tell you what you want to see, what order they want to see it in, and how to get it to them, who they're accepting, what genres they want, things like that. All of that is given to you, so you don't have to send something off and like, well, I hope this will be in this person's wheelhouse or in their area of interest. No. Most of them will tell you exactly what they're looking for and make it easy to get your stuff to them. So to get some information to you, let me give you some resources that I've been looking at that have helped me learn how to write my query letters. By the way, these are all going to be articles, and so I will put the links to them in the description if I can, assuming Google isn't dead by the time this video comes out, because as of time of recording, today is May 26th, and so I've been checking Google all day, and so far the search engine is still the same, but if it goes all to AI, who knows what these links will do. So we're just kind of playing it by ear here. So one of the first articles that I looked at in terms of writing a query letter, for me in particular, because like I mentioned, everything I've done up to this point is self-published, I wanted to know, can you land a literary agent for a self-published book? And there's a great article that I have found that talks in depth about that from Jane Friedman, which is How to Land an Agent for a Self-Published Book. If I'm not mistaken, Jane is an agent herself, and she talks all about how to properly query for a work that has been previously self-published. Mainly going through, the number one point is, don't mention that it's been published before. They don't need to know that yet. And so if you're out there and like me, you've self-published a book and now you'd actually like to take the next step and move towards or look for traditional publishing, just send a query letter off as if it hasn't been published yet. more often than not, that's not going to matter. Like Jane says in the article, if you get interest back from an agent, then in the next step or the next part of your email or communication to them, then you can let them know about the work's history as opposed to leading with that up front. Because most agents aren't looking for works that are previously published. They're looking for new stuff that they can take and market. It's different if you self-publish and you have a massive following, because then that becomes an asset that you want to mention in your query letter. Like if you say, hey, I self-published this book and I sold 100,000 copies, that's stuff that an agent will want to know. But if you're like me, I could probably count on, a few hands with fingers to spare the amounts of, like the second book that I sold. So it's really not going to matter. The next articles in question come from Kaylee Delarusso, and the first one is called The Query Letter That Landed Me a Literary Agent, and the second, this is what I was looking for specifically for the work that I'm trying to get out, 12 Agents Who Want Your Thriller and Suspense Novels. Now, these articles are very useful because in the first one, The Query Letter That Landed Me an Agent, you get to see an example of a query letter, and it breaks down what each part does, what the function of it is, how formulaic kind of the query letter as a template is supposed to be. And that's the great thing about query letters that I've discovered so far, is that you're communicating the same information just in slightly different ways depending on the agent that you're querying to. For example, some of the agents that I've gotten in touch with, they want either the first 3 chapters or 10,000 words in an attachment in the email. Some people just want the first 10 pages in the body of the email. So it varies depending on exactly who you're trying to reach out to and what their specific preference is. But all in all, you're getting the same information about your book to them. And then that second article from Kaylee Delarusso, The 12 Agents Who Want Your Thriller and Suspense Novel, even though the title of the article is specifically limited to thriller and suspense, that article goes through several different genres and the query letters corresponding to them, like sci-fi or historical fiction, etc., and you get to see examples or snippets of other query letters that have gotten agents. So I highly recommend those, and that leads me into another website that is massively useful called Query Tracker. Query Tracker, from my understanding, is an agent database website that also has some success stories, which include the query letters that were accepted by the agents. And it's very easy to find. If you go to Query Tracker, you can scroll down on the homepage, and you should find a section that talks about success stories, and then they'll have a little asterisk next to them, next to a hyperlink, that says these stories include the successful query letter. So one of the first things I did was I went and I read all of those, and you'll find that those are pretty much the same. They're very different in terms of genre, in terms of the book being represented, of course, but again, the core communications, the core information is being communicated in the same way. And that served as an excellent basis to help me write my first few query letters and personalize them, of course, to the agents I was sending them out to. Piggybacking right off of that, another great article I read is from Readsy, which is 5 agent-approved query letter examples. If you want to succeed trying to do something new, whatever it is, you're going to want to look at people who have already done it successfully and learn as much as you can from them as possible. And that's what I've been doing with query letters. Even if it's just snippets, even if it's just the opening paragraph or the sign-off paragraph, you have something to learn and something that it can teach you, either how to do it or how not to do it. And so that's another great article for me, especially just trying to build my own sort of mental database of, I want to get eyes on as many successful query letters as possible so that I can start to formulate and dissect them and see why they were successful, what works, what's the best way to communicate this information about my book. And so with all of that as a foundation, I took that and I wrote my own several query letters that I've sent out, and I've got more going out the door tomorrow. And with that knowledge basis, I can teach you the template for how to write your own query letter if you're trying to get traditionally published. Let's start with the absolute basics that I've read what a lot of agents want to see. Dear agent name. And when I say agent name, I don't mean type that out verbatim. I mean know exactly the agent that you are querying to and put their name there. This is apparently a thing that a lot of authors or writers get wrong because they just put agent name like it's a, to whom it may concern. And that rubs a lot of agents the wrong way on the impact. I mean, think of it, if you were an agent, if you were looking for books, would you want someone to address you by name or just by title or rank? A query letter has a lot of things that it has to do, and building a relationship with the agent as soon as possible is kind of one of them if you want to get them in your corner so that they take interest in your book. And the best way to do that, at least in the very first line, the address of the letter, is letting them know that you have taken the time to learn their name. After that, you have your intro paragraph, and this is got it all to do. Here are the things that need to be communicated in the introductory paragraph. Number 1, the title of the work goes in all caps. Number 2, if your manuscript is complete or incomplete. That is actually a big deal. A lot of agents want a complete manuscript, not something that you're currently working on. Number 3, the word count of your manuscript. You round it to the nearest 500 or 1,000 word count, and you put that very early on. Number 3, that's 4. Number 4, your comp sentence. Now, what are comps? I could do a whole video on that, but comp is basically short for comparative works. By that, I mean these are letting your agent know what your book sits next to on the shelf, or at least what tones and vibes it pulls from, for a lack of a better term. This is most of the time you're going to want to pick other books, which will communicate a litany of things to the agent. It's that if you're referencing modern books, you know that you read within the genre, you know you understand that genre and understand the market, and you know where your book sits. I've seen examples, and some are in the articles you can read, that people use other comps, like you can use music, video games, movies, etc. But I think that's a very risky play. It's a gamble that, if you're confident enough, take it. But if not, it's better to just stick with books, especially modern books, if you can. For example, in my query letter for Somebody to Hate, that's the book that I'm sending off. By the way, that book technically doesn't exist. If I need it to not be self-published before, I'm not mentioning that yet, like I mentioned up front. So if any of you guys read it, no you didn't. It doesn't exist yet. But that book is a murder mystery set in London in the 80s. And so for the comp sentence, I referenced 2 books, one modern and one classic. I referenced Agatha Christie's The Murder on the Links and Terry Pratchett's Good Omens. That, I think, is the best place to describe where this book sits in terms of tone, vibe, setting, etc. And that, of course, for people who know those books, communicates a wealth of knowledge about what this book is going to feel like when you read it. Now, those 4 things are the core things that need to be in your introductory paragraph. And again, before you listen to anything I say, go look up what the agency you want to be represented by is, or go look at a specific agent, and then look at what they want from you, because sometimes it'll be slightly different. Some agents recommend that you put your main character and sort of a very brief summary of their arc in the first sentence, or just introduce them as a concept. So that way the agent knows who we're rooting for, who we're going to be reading about, who we're going to be spending time with, etc. But it depends on the agent. That can also go in the body paragraphs, which are usually 2 to 3 paragraphs that follow the introductory paragraph and are the blurb of your book, what you would see on the back cover that gives a very brief snippet, an overview of the whole story. So again, most important than anything else, look at the agent that you are trying to submit to and listen to exactly what they tell you. They know what they want, so just give them what they want, and that'll make everybody's life a lot easier. So again, after the introductory paragraph, then you have your 2 or 3 body paragraphs, which are very short. You want to keep them as brief as possible, but give them the blurb on the back of your book that sort of gives them an overview of what they can expect from the story they're about to read. Then your sign-off paragraph. This one is also important. Things that go here. Any other previous experience writing, if you have any specific certifications or degrees or trophies, awards, whatever, that are related to writing or creative writing, that's a thing that, anything basically that makes you unique or stands out about you in the area of writing and creative writing, any accolades you've received in the past. Your sign-off paragraph can be more or less like a very, very quick show and tell of like, hey, here's what I've earned from writing in the past. And another thing that I forgot to mention that could be in the introductory paragraph, could be in this paragraph. Depending on the agent that you're querying, or if you look up an agent by a book, let's say you read A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles, and you want to get his literary agents to represent your book, that's something that you would want to put in your either introductory paragraph or your sign-off paragraph. You'd say something along the lines of, hey, I'm very well aware of your work, I love Amor Towles, and I think that my writing would be a great complement to this style. So again, that's a very quick version of that, but some refined version of that is what you'd want to say. Anything that shows that you have done your homework, you know who this agent works with, and you think your writing would be a great additive or complement to that body of work, absolutely put that in. And then just wrap it up professionally, succinctly, and pleasantly with something along the lines of, I don't know how many I couldn't imagine how many queries you get in a day. Thank you very much for the time and consideration of reading mine. Hope to hear back from you soon. And then best regards, sincerely, whatever your name. And it's just that easy. Again, I don't know what all the fuss is about. This is like writing a paper for school, and if you just follow the prompt and give the professor, or the agent in this case, exactly what they want, it's just a numbers game until you get somebody to say yes. And here's another thing, if you didn't know, it costs nothing. Literary agents do not take payment for query submissions. From the research I've done, they take a percentage of royalties if the book sells, but if your book doesn't sell, you don't pay them a dime. And so again, it is just a numbers game. If you submit enough query letters for your book, you will get somebody to say yes. That's the premise I'm operating under, and I absolutely encourage you to operate under that as well, because it's the truth. How could it not be? Knowing me being self-published and just dipping my toes in this water, that might sound like delusion or cockiness, but am I wrong? So that's mostly what I've learned about query letters. We could be here for a lot longer if I really went in depth and really tried to write one out with you, but those are the gists that you need to know going forward if you're looking to write your own query letter. There are a lot of great other YouTubers that I queued up some videos, I haven't finished them yet, about writing query letters and things like that. A lot of great articles and stuff. There is so much more to learn, and I'm just getting started. So big asterisk on all of this is like, I only know so much. I haven't gotten a successful query letter reply back, or it hasn't landed me a publishing deal. But as soon as it does, I will let you know. Who knows, maybe we'll be looking back on this video in a little while and be like, wow, he actually knew what he was talking about. So that will do it for today. Again, like I said last week, I wanted to be back and teach you something new. And so this time I'm teaching you what I've learned since I saw you last. So it's been quite the journey, and I've been having a lot of fun doing it. And it's kind of restored my faith in what I'm doing in a way. Because like I mentioned in the last video, I've been applying to a lot of other writing adjacent things like book production, cover design, things of that nature on the anything but writing full time, basically. And the reason for that is because I just sort of always shooed out of my mind the possibility that I would get a traditional publishing deal, because I just didn't think about it. It's like, well, that's for other people. It never happened to me. Why even bother? And in addition to that, I had a lot of preconceived notions about what that would look like, because I write on a basis of whenever the mood strikes me, in a way, which I know people will tell you to write every day. Write when you want. Maybe that's bad advice. I don't know. There's many ways to write as there are writers, but that's how I work. And so I assumed, and again, I don't know if this is a valid assumption or not. I haven't done the research into it. None of this is based on factual evidence, so I really can't mistake a claim on it. But I assumed that a traditional publishing deal would mean, hey, I need this book by this day. And be like, well, it'll be done maybe. I'll get it done at some point. I don't know if it'll be on that day, but I'll try. But again, knowing me, I work better under a deadline anyway, so that would probably be a beneficial thing for everybody. And so looking back over it, looking at everything else I was applying to try and make what I do sustainable and try and take my passions into a bona fide career, while also sort of just shutting the idea of a traditional publishing deal out of my mind. While I was applying to all these other things, I kept telling people and everything, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to write all the time, no matter what I'm doing. So I figured, well, why don't I just go after that? Why don't I just go after trying to get an actual publishing deal so I don't have to do everything myself? And it exposed a lack of faith on my part that God could make that happen, you know? I'm not trying to tell you what to believe. Again, I don't talk about this as blatantly very often, but the point is me looking at it's like, well, that would never happen to me. It's like, well, that's me being like, well, God's not going to make that happen for me. He's not going to open that door or allow that to happen. That's for other people. Which it's like, well, I'm not seeing success anywhere else, and this is the passion that He's given me, so I'm going to go after this and see what happens. And more importantly than just see what happens, have faith that a traditional publishing deal will happen. And so I'm looking forward to it. But that's enough of that. I don't want to talk your ear off. I'm not trying to hit you over the head with anything. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope this was informative to you, as the last week and a half has been informative for me in the realm of pursuing a path to traditional publishing. And so that's very exciting. And as soon as I know more, you will, or at least as soon as I know I can talk about knowing more. Thank you again very much for watching. I will see you guys next week. I have no idea what we're doing next week, but I will figure it out in the meantime. So thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.